8. Be careful. The sum required to earn a monthly interest of 1,800. So 1,800 is monthly interest. Monthly interest at the rate 15% per annum. Monthly interest. Rate is 15% per annum. And interest is monthly. The sum required to earn a monthly interest of 1,800. According to me, the answer should come to 1,44,000. Either you make that monthly interest to annual, 1,800 mahine ka. For annual, you'll have to multiply it by 12. That's one way. Otherwise, you take that period monthly. So 1/12. One month is 1/12. Yeah. Answer for that at the rate. Okay, fine. Answer for that at the rate sum. The sum required to earn quarterly interest now. That was monthly. Now don't make mistake here. Quarterly interest. Quarterly means how many months? Quarterly means how many months? Quarterly means how many months? Quarter. 3 months. Quarter is 1/4. 12 into 1/4. 3 months. Year is 12 months. Year is 12 months. Quarter. Quarter is 1/4. 3 months, not 4 months. Quarter is 3 months. Yes, answer should be 60,000 for that at the rate. And do the last one, 9th one. Similar sum has been solved. A sum of money amounts to 62,000 in 4 years and 68,000 in 5 years. The principal and rate of interest are. Yes. Answer comes as follows. You'll get answer on the screen. Seventh answer, T equal to 2. Eighth answer, I took it as 1 divided by 12. 1800, 1800 is equal to P into 0.15 into 1 upon 12, 1 month. So 12. In accounts also you do it. 3 months depreciation, so 3 upon 12. 6 months salary, so 6 upon 12, the same year. Okay. And the last, at the rate answer is 60,000. And 9 answer is, actual answer is 15.789, but rounded off to 15.79%. 789 is correct, rounded off to 79. Generally 2 digits after the decimal point. Yeah. Dear student, if you remember yesterday I said one more thing. Every lecture I'll be giving you 4-5 sums as a homework. So today, before closing down, that is at 4:10, remind me to give homework. They are ready, sums are ready. And Saturday will be weekly practice test. We'll call it as weekly practice test. So WPT. Okay. Saturday, late night, I'll upload. And then you have to do it in full 1 week. Which question? All sorts of questions. You'll have there this value for money also question 1 or 2. Then you'll have those LR questions also. Next then, one more 10 before we go on to compound interest. Only one sum is there now. A sum of money doubles itself in 10 years. A sum of money doubles itself in 10 years. Means if I deposit 1,000 in 10 years, it becomes double. That is, it becomes 2,000. If I deposit 700, it will become double. That is 1,400 in 10 years. The number of years it will triple itself is, triple होने के लिए कितना time लगेगा? How many years will be required? Yes, 20 years, common sense, not 15 years. I got interest. Suppose I'm depositing 1,000. It became double in 10 years. So I got interest of 1,000. Become triple, it should become 3,000. So I should get interest of another 1,000. In simple interest, amount remains the same per year. So अगर 10 साल में 1,000 interest मिला है तो अगले 10 साल में भी 1,000 interest मिलेगा. So 20 years, that's a common sense, but I've solved it mathematically also, both. There it is. With common sense, 20 years, without doing anything, without doing any calculation. If you want mathematically will be as follows. I is equal to PIT. Let principal amount be X. If principal amount is X, it becomes double. So interest also will be X. Agree that first point, mathematical. If principal amount is X, my interest also X, double. So to become double, my interest should be equal to principal. Now the formula, X is equal to X into I into 10 years. X get cancelled and it becomes 1. 1 is equal to I into 10. Then 1 divided by 10, which is 0.1, is I. Now to make it triple, 2x, I should get interest double. 2x is equal to x into 0.1 into t, and I get t as 20. So mathematically also solved. So we want to solve mathematically. You can solve mathematically, otherwise your common sense tells you it's 20.
पढ़ाई के लिए मेहनत तो सब करते हैं, लेकिन स्मार्ट स्टडी कौन करता है? प्री एग्जाम ऐप के साथ बनाइए अपनी तैयारी सुपर स्मार्ट। प्री एग्जाम ऐप देता है वाइड रेंज के एग्जाम्स की तैयारी, जैसे जी, नीट, कैट, सीए फाउंडेशन, सीएस सीट, बैंकिंग, रेलवे, एसएससी, एमबीए एंट्रेंस, एसवाईजेसी, कॉम, टीवाईबी कॉम और भी बहुत कुछ। चैप्टर वाइज टेस्ट्स एंड मॉक टेस्ट्स, डिटेल्ड परफॉर्मेंस एनालिसिस, और अब तैयारी होगी एकदम परफेक्ट। कहीं भी कभी भी पढ़ाई करें। और एक विशाल क्वेश्चन बैंक आपकी तैयारी को बनाए आसान। इंस्टेंट इवैल्यूएशन से तुरंत जानिए अपनी परफॉर्मेंस और पाएं पर्सनलाइज्ड फीडबैक। तो अब देरी किस बात की? प्री एग्जाम ऐप डाउनलोड करें और अपने नाम से रजिस्टर्ड करें और एक विशाल क्वेश्चन बैंक बिल्कुल फ्री और अपनी सफलता की कहानी लिखें। लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है। प्री एग्जाम ऐप स्मार्ट तैयारी का साथी।
Few more questions will come at the end of the chapter on simple interest, but for now, from my side, simple interest is over. Any doubt with simple interest? Practice करना है, practice के लिए sums मिलेंगे. Today also I'll give you. Today I'll give you sums to be solved before next lecture. 4-5 sum दे दूंगा, ज्यादा नहीं. Every lecture 4 to 5 sums. Okay, let's move ahead. Compound interest. Compound interest. Now, compound interest means interest on interest. In simple interest, you don't get interest on interest. In compound interest, you will get interest even on interest. Interest on interest. For the first period, simple interest and compound interest will be same. It is explained in the examples now. From the second period, you get interest on interest. It is principal plus earlier interest. Pay interest milega. Let's take an example. Rupees 1 lakh, a principal amount. Rate of interest 10% per annum. Period 3 years. Compounded annually. Compound interest, you will have this word called as compounded. Now, every time it's not compounded annually, we'll come across that. Compounded annually, compounded half yearly, compounded quarterly. We'll come across that. Now, simple interest on the left hand side, say first year, simple interest will be PIN. First year का 1 साल का interest निकाल रहा हूँ. Principal will be the same. It is 1 lakh into rate of interest 10%. 10% in point form is 0.1 into 1. So why that into 1? And it should be PIT, not PIN. It should be PIT. N is number of years. Okay, fine. But your study material is saying T, so it should be PIT. Basically, it should be PIT. Fine. PIT. So it should be PIT formula or everywhere. It should be PIT. Anyway, T and N. T is time, N is number of years. Okay, 10,000. There in compound interest, the same calculation. I get 10,000. What happens in the second year? Simple interest. So again, I'll get 10,000. Second year also, I'll get 10,000. Simple interest. What happens in compound interest? Compound interest. What was my principal? My principal was 1 lakh plus last year interest. I'm into second year. So last year interest is 10,000. So my amount now becomes, principal now becomes 1,10,000. I'll get interest on 1,10,000. In compound interest, you get interest on interest. So I'll get 11,000. Third year, here it will remain same. On the left hand side, simple interest will be same, 10,000. But compound interest, I'll get my 1 lakh plus earlier to, I'm into third year. So first year interest plus second year interest. First year interest is 10,000. Second year interest is 11,000. 10 plus 11, 21,000 interest. So my principal now became 1,21,000 into 0.1, that is 10% into 1 year. And that gives me 12,100. Total interest in simple interest, the total is 30,000. Whereas in compound interest, it is 33,100. Compound interest is always more than simple interest. Compound interest is always more than simple interest. Another, compound interest keeps on increasing every year. Say first year 10,000, next year 11,000, next year 12,100. Will keep on increasing every year. Whereas simple interest remains same, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Is that clear? With simple interest and compound interest, we'll come to formula. Anyway, don't have to do like this. This is a formula for compound interest. Is the comparison clear? Simple interest and compound interest. Please reply. Is the distinguished difference between compound interest and what the points to be noted here? Point number 1, simple interest every year same. Compound interest every year changing, plus every year change, plus it is increasing. So compound interest will never decrease, it will keep on increasing. Or one more point to be done, one more point, and that says simple interest when principal amount is same, 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 1 lakh, simple interest. Whereas in compound interest, first year it is 1 lakh, second year it is 1,10,000, third year the principal becomes 1,21,000. So principal keeps on changing in compound interest. Here I've said this. In simple interest, the principal remains constant. Every year 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 1 lakh. Whereas in compound interest, principal goes on changing at the end of specified period. Every period it was annual. So every year it was changing. First year compound interest, first year the principal was 1 lakh. Second year 1,10,000. Next year 1,21,000. Compound interest is generally more than simple interest. Why I'm saying generally, if it is 1 year, then it will be the same. So I'm saying generally more than. Okay. Here, in example discussed above or earlier, interest was calculated on yearly basis, compounded annually. That is, the interest was compounded annually. But that doesn't happen here. However, in practice, it is not necessary that interest will be computed annually. With banks, for example, the banks, any bank you take, they calculate interest twice in a year. They calculate interest twice in a year, half yearly calculation they have. For example, in banks, the interest is often compounded twice a year, half yearly, or it is called as semi-annually. Half year, 6 months, semi-annual, one and the same. That is, interest is calculated and added to the principal after every 6 months. In some financial institution, interest is computed quarterly, that is 4 times a year. Some of them calculate interest even 4 times a year, that is quarterly interest. The period at the end of which the interest is computed is called as conversion period. It's called as conversion period. If I'm getting annually, compounded annually, that year is my conversion period. Okay. If it is half yearly, then conversion period is 2. We'll discuss that. When the interest is calculated and added to principal every 6 months, the conversion period is 6 months. Conversion period is 6 months. In this case, number of conversion period per year would be 2. 6 months. So in a year, it will be twice 2. If the loan or deposit was for 5 years, then the number of conversion period would be 10. Year mein 2, 5 years mein 10.